Malaysia records first 2 COVID-19 deaths. No commuting to neighboring countries effective tomorrow. Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos and you're watching News on 2. Well, sadly, Malaysia records its first 2 COVID-19 related deaths today, with the first being one of the participants from the tabligh gathering held in Sri Petaling Mosque recently, while the second was a man from Kuching.
Buku cerita dimaklumkan terdapat 2 kematian kerana COVID-19. Kes ke-178 dan kes ke-358. Dilaporkan kepada Crisis Preparedness dan Response Center Kebangsaan KKM pada hari ini.
According to Health Minister Dr. Sri Dr. Adham Baba, the first victim, aged 34, was one of the participants of the tabligh gathering who had developed fever-like symptoms on 5th March. He was treated at Hospital Permai Johor on 12 March after being diagnosed positive for COVID-19. His condition deteriorated after he was admitted to the intensive care unit and succumbed to death today. The second death was recorded in Sarawak. The Health Minister added that the second victim was a 60-year-old man from Kuching who has a history of chronic illness. He was treated for fever, cough and breathing difficulties on 7th March at the Sarawak General Hospital. He tested positive for COVID-19 on 14th March. His condition deteriorated and was treated at the ICU before he was confirmed dead. Malaysian citizens who commute daily to Singapore and Thailand for work will not be able to do that beginning tomorrow until the 31st of March. Now, the travel ban is in effect following the announcement last night by Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin on the 14-day movement control order. Well, this was confirmed by Immigration Department Director General Dato' Khairul Zami Daud when asked to comment on the travel ban. Well, this, he said, was to contain the spread of COVID-19 in the country during the next 14 days. Well, meanwhile, all train and buses managed by Prasarana Malaysia Berhad, or Prasarana, will be operating as usual throughout the duration of movement control order. In a statement today, Prasarana said it would be monitoring the situation to ensure the suitable frequency of its services and throughout the period of the movement control order. Well, Prasarana Chief Operations Officer Muhammad Nizam Alia said they will be holding discussions with the Transport Ministry, especially the Land Public Transport Agency or APAD, before any decision is made with regards to the operating frequency of the trains and buses operated by Prasarana. Well, he also confirmed that the Pasar Seni bus hub will be open as usual, especially for the benefit of the disabled, students and senior citizens who are entitled for a 50% discount for their travels. For further information on Rapid KL services, the public can follow Rapid's Twitter, Instagram and Facebook at MyRapid or call the hotline at 03-7885-2585. Well, in the wake of COVID-19 outbreak, the Sultan of Selangor, Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah, has decreed that all religious activities, including Friday prayers in the state, will be suspended until 17th April. Well, a statement by the palace said the Sultan made the decree as he was concerned with the well-being of those who reside in Selangor following the global COVID-19 infection outbreak. Now, Sultan Sharafuddin also said Friday prayers will be replaced with Zohor prayers at home and that the azan or call to prayer will continue to be broadcast. Well, the ruler said these measures are in line with the movement control order announced by Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin last night. The Sultan added that the people are also recommended to recite Kunut Nazilah on a daily basis in an effort to pray for protection from the Almighty God, Allah. The palace said if the virus can be controlled and stopped earlier than expected, a new decree will be announced by Sultan Sharafuddin. Now, the restricted movement order will also see a rescheduling of all civil and criminal cases to new dates after 31st March. In a statement issued by the Chief Registrar's Office, it was announced that the hearing of all civil and criminal cases scheduled from 18th March to 31st March will be postponed to new dates. Now, it stated that the filing and management of all new civil cases and appeal notices via e-filing will go on as normal. However, in courts which have yet to implement the e-filing system, new cases can only be registered from 1st April. The statement read that remand and bail applications will also remain unaffected by the directive and will go on as normal. Now, this morning, the corruption trial of Kinabatangan Member of Parliament Dato Sri Bong Mokhtar and his wife Datin Sri Zizi Izzet A. Samad was vacated after his lawyer applied for this week's proceedings to be adjourned. Well, over in Sarawak, Banda Kuching Member of Parliament Dr. Kelvin Yi Lee Yuen has been tested positive for COVID-19. A posting on his official Facebook page revealed today. Well, he is now under quarantine at Sarawak General Hospital. Dr. Kelvin said on 2nd March he had close contact with his colleague, syndicate MP Andrew Yong Liu Biu, who was tested positive for COVID-19. Well, according to Dr. Kelvin, the Health Department last night released the results of the COVID-19 test for both himself and Stampin MP Chong Tien Jin. However, tests showed Chong was negative for the virus. Dr. Kelvin said that the Health Department was also working to trace other possible contacts and the source of infection. Now, as of now, 8 positive COVID-19 cases have been recorded in Sarawak today, bringing the state's tally to 42 cases. And the State Disaster Management Committee spokesman in a statement said 5 of the cases are currently under treatment at Sarawak General Hospital and 2 at the Cebu Hospital. Well, News on 2 continues. Now, moving on, the corruption trial of Dato Sri Bong Mokhtar Radin and his celebrity wife, Datin Sri Zizi Izzet A. Samad, has been vacated for the rest of March following the nationwide restricted movement order, which begins tomorrow. Now, earlier, in light of the announcement, the Kinabatangan Member of Parliament applied for this week's proceedings to be adjourned. Now, this was to allow him to fly to Sabah to serve his responsibilities at his constituency. Now, his lawyer, Dato K. Kumarendran, said it was important for Dato Sri Bong to go back to Sabah before the partial shutdown starts. Dato Kumarendran said another unique ground for the adjournment application was that he and other members in the defense team needed to go back to their office in Pulau Pinang to sort out administrative matters. Now, Dato Sri Bong was charged with 3 counts of corruption amounting to 2.8 million ringgit to secure a 150 million ringgit investment for Felcra Berhad with Public Mutual Berhad through 2 unit trust funds, and these accounts belonging to his wife in 2015. His wife, actress Zizi Izzet, was charged with abetting him. A senior citizen was fined 8,000 ringgit in default 3 months jail by the Aikro Sessions Court today for insulting the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah through a posting on Facebook. Now, Judge Elizabeth Paya Wan meted out the fine on Lee Chin Pin, 68, who pleaded guilty to the charge. Well, he was charged with improper use of network facilities to knowingly initiate the transmission of offensive communications through Facebook using the profile name Gavin Lee with intent to annoy another person on 29 February. Well, he was charged under Section 233, Subsection 1, Subsection A of the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998. Deputy Public Prosecutor Mohammad Sopian Zakaria prosecuted while Lee was represented by Ayman Arif Abdulaziz. Well, separately, the Johor Police Contingency Dato' Ayub said investigation found that the syndicate have been operating since August last year and they have been using the apartment as their drug processing lab and packaging center. It was believed that the drugs were for the local market. The police also seized 2 cars and 1,600 ringgit cash, making the total seizures worth about 740,000 ringgit.
Memang kita percaya untuk guna lokal, untuk macam saya katakan tadi lah, ada yang ekspor ke negara jiran, ada yang untuk penggunaan lokal, banyak pendapatan narkotik, kemudian ni banyak juga operasi pembersihan, setiap hari kita ada operasi pembersihan, memang banyak yang mereka datang, kita tangkap dan ada isu yang serius lah.
Dato' Ayub also said that 3 of the suspects have previous records related to drug offences and fighting cases. The case is investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. Well, apologize for the technicalities we are facing this evening. Let's continue with the news. Now, entertainment outlet worker was fined 400 ringgit by the Balik Pulau Magistrates Court today after he pleaded guilty to spitting on the buttons of an elevator at his apartment in Bayan Lepas on Sunday. Now, Magistrate Nur Azwin Abdul Moaiti ordered the accused Ang Hock Beng, 63, to serve a month jail if he fails to pay the fine. Now, Ang was charged with intentionally spitting on the lift buttons at the Daman Malori apartment in Bayan Lepas on 15 March at 11:45 a.m., which could possibly result in public harm and cause nuisance to the residents living there. Now, the video footage of the act went viral on social media. Deputy Public Prosecutor Rais Imran Hamid said the accused should be given a reasonable penalty considering the nature of the offence amid the COVID-19 outbreak. Now, Ang was represented by a lawyer from the National Legal Aid Foundation. Dato' Sri Ahmad Faisal Azumu officially began his duties as the 13th Menteri Besar of Perak today. Well, he arrived at Bangunan Perak Darul Ridwan in Ipoh at 8:30 a.m., where he was welcomed by the Deputy State Secretary for Management, Nur Sham Rahman, and State Finance Officer, Dato' Zulazlan Abu Hassan. Well, Perak Menteri Besar's office in a statement said the small-scale ceremony was done without the presence of the media as a measure of social distancing to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Now, Dato' Sri Ahmad Faisal started his day by chairing the Perak National Security Council or MKN meeting. The meeting was aimed to discuss further action by the state government and agencies following the implementation of the movement control order throughout the country, as announced by Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin last night. Now, Ahmad Faisal was sworn in as the 13th Perak Menteri Besar before the Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Shah, last Friday after he managed to command the majority in the State Legislative Assembly. Well, still to come, European countries tightening travel restrictions amid COVID-19. Formed outside a supermarket in Mandaluyong City in metropolitan Manila on Tuesday as shoppers rushed to buy food and other products amid the COVID-19 outbreak. Now, the island of Luzon, where the Philippines' capital is located, has been put under quarantine. Now, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte placed the northern third of the country under an enhanced community quarantine that requires millions of people to stay mostly at home in an attempt to contain the new coronavirus. Well, most office work and mass transit on Luzon Island, including Manila, will be suspended for a month. Public movement will be restricted and large gatherings banned except for medical and other emergencies. Now, banks, hospitals, drugstores and supermarkets will remain open, but only one family member can make such trips and should observe social distancing. Now, the Philippines has 140 cases of infection. The 12 deaths due to COVID-19 are the most in Southeast Asia. In our sports segment, now the Malaysian Football League, MFL, has not decided how long the Malaysia League or M-League 2020 will be suspended due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Now, MFL Chief Executive Officer Dato' Abdul Ghani Hassan said the period of suspension would be based on the advice and guide issued by the Health Ministry or KKM according to the latest situation and level of threat posed by the disease. However, the MFL, as the administrator of the M-League, has contingency plans to deal with the situation if the domestic league needs to be suspended until June. So speaking to Bernama yesterday, he said as a simple guide, a drop in the number of cases might signal a possible resumption of the league. But in view of the latest developments and spike in cases, the MFL is prepared for the league to be suspended until April, May, or maybe June. Now, last Friday, the Football Association of Malaysia, FAM, and MFL ordered that all matches scheduled for last week be played behind closed doors before the league was postponed to help curb the spread of COVID-19. And after 4 matches in the M-League, Super League defending champions Johor Darul Ta'zim or JDT with a table with 10 points, while Terengganu FC 2 lead the Premier League after winning all their first 4 matches. News on to our top story. Malaysia records first 2 COVID-19 deaths. Well, join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Amin Carlos. Stay tuned to TV2 and we wish you a pleasant evening.